Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Drama Chats. I'm Simona.
I'm Katie.
And today I am very excited. We're both very excited. We're going to be talking about the 2025 Netflix animated musical fantasy drama K-pop Demon Hunters.
Woohoo!
So this film has been trending nationwide as well as globally. I think it's number one on Netflix, is like top 10. So fair warning, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't yet watch it, come back and join us later and let us know how awesome you think it is.
Or not awesome. That's okay if you didn't find it awesome.
I don't know about that. Okay, so this animated film stars the voice talents of Arden Cho as Rumi, An Yo Sup as Jinu, Mei Hong as Mira, Ji Young Yu as Zoe, Yoojin Kim as Celine, Joel Kim Booster as Romance Saja, Alan Lee as Mystery Saja, Sungwon Cho as Abs Saja, Danny Chung as Baby Saja, and Lee Byung-hoon as Gima. And for those of you in the West, you may know Lee Byung-hoon through Squid Games, but he's obviously done so much more, but that's probably how you'll know him.
Daniel Day Kim, actor from Hawaii Five-0, is and the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix also voiced the Quack Doctor.
Yes. So like I said, there will be spoilers, so come back and join us when you've watched it. So the basic premise of the movie is that Huntrix is this very successful female K-pop band who are inheritors of a centuries-long calling to protect the world from demons. So they do this through the use of their voice and their songs, and their voices and songs when they're in harmony, because it's very important that they have to all be on the same page, mentally and emotionally and also vocally. They maintain the magical barrier known as the Hanmun, and this prevents the demons and the Demon King Guima from being able to enter our world and steal people's souls. So their bonds and powers are tested with the arrival of a demonic K-pop boy band known as the Saja Boys.
Which apparently has two meanings.
Yes. And they sort of arrive on the scene, and their goal is to steal their fans and steal their fans' souls and allow
And destroy
Guima,
the Hanmun.
Yes, and allow Guima and his minions to break free. So that's the basic premise. So here ended the spoilers. So, I have so many thoughts on this movie. I am way too excited, but I watched this movie twice, and I will watch it a third time.
Hey, I equally watched this movie twice.
Yes.
And loved every single minute of it. So
Yeah.
you are not alone in your adoration for this animated film.
And I'm not going to lie, and my colleagues will know this, so try not to side-eye or sigh when you hear this. When I first learned about the three chosen ones, I was like, it's Buffy. It's Buffy.
God.
And then because it's like a line of female warriors. Okay.
No.
See,
this is better than Buffy. This is better than Buffy. It's better than Buffy.
We'll fight afterwards. But anyway, that's where my mind went briefly. So as with what we've been doing so far, I'm just going to give my general thoughts, like what I loved about the movie.
Yeah.
Katie's going to give what she loved about the movie. So when I started watching this, it was very clear to me that this is a love letter to K-pop, first and foremost, but also K-dramas.
And culture. Like the K-pop culture and K-drama culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Korean heritage and mythology.
It's so saturated in this movie, but not overtly saturated. Like they don't hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, and like a lot of thought and care was put into this movie. It truly is a project of love, and that's evident from when you first start watching
it's also a movie about acceptance, too.
Exactly, yes, yeah. I loved the songs. There isn't one song in this movie that you want to skip when, like, they're such bops.
After I watched the movie the first time, I immediately went on to Spotify and I downloaded the entire album.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So, speaking of the songs, I have my favorites.
Of course you do.
So, number 1 is Golden. Love that song. 2, What It Sounds Like. 3, Free. Although now that I'm thinking about it, Free is now number 2. What It Sounds Like is number 3. And Soda Pop is 4. Like I said, I love all the songs, but what's wrong
with Soda Pop?
I just
Why-
love because
Why is it number 4?
I'll be honest, I am a sucker for a good ballad. But Soda Pop is a jam. When that song comes on, like you're going like this too with the characters. That is for a debut song, that's a bop from Soulja Boys. I love the Demon Tiger and the Demon Magpie. So apparently the tiger's name is Derpy. Now I'm not
Yes.
sure if that's a fan given name or that's the actual like name for the
I
character.
didn't see because the character doesn't have. There's no voice character for the
Yeah.
character, so I didn't see what the actual character's name as it coincides to like the voice actor in the credits.
Yeah.
But I think Amanda, one of our colleagues and friends who's also seen this movie at least
Yes.
3 times, she said that I don't want to put words in her mouth or like I believe she said that it was that it was actually their names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the magpie and the tiger are
Which are adorable.
they are adorable, and the magpie wears a little got, which is a traditional Korean man's hat.
But
I
it's
love
for the
magpie.
tiger.
He
It's
stole
for the
it.
tiger. He stole it from the tiger.
Which makes sense. It's a magpie. Now that I'm thinking magpies are known for, so now that makes even
Yes.
more sense. But it's very important too that the tiger and magpie in Korean mythology are protection against evil spirits.
Yes, which is really telling for Jinyu and his character.
Yes, so like I love them. Shout out to Derpy and the magpie.
Magpie also has a name, but I don't remember
Yeah, I don't
the
remember
name.
the name either. But like now they have merch, and I want a Derpy stuffed animal. From the minute Derpy comes on, I love that scene where like the flower pot gets knocked over.
It's a cat.
I know.
It's a cat.
But I loved it because like that would be me. Like trying to fix it and being frustrated and like the side eye that the magpie gives him. It's like I'm used to
so
this.
the magpie would be me in
Yes.
this scenario.
Yeah, so I loved it, but it's like those little attentions to detail, like how the characters don't say anything because
Yeah.
the animals don't speak with words, but they speak through their like facial expressions, and it's
Yeah.
just so well done. It's amazing. We're gonna talk about the Soulja Boys because we cannot not talk about the Soulja Boys.
You gotta talk about the Soulja Boys.
So as Katie mentioned, Soulja has a dual meaning.
It does have a dual meaning.
Lion, but also it's Saja. That part of the word is from the Korean word for Grim Reaper, which now I can't remember what the Korean word for Grim Reaper is, but that's sort of what they like think the creators were going with. Also, their light stick has a lion on it.
Pride, and their fans are called the Pride.
Exactly. So they are known as Mystery Saja, Abs Saja, Genu Saja, Baby Saja, and Romance Saja. And
Jinyu doesn't have a name.
no, he's just Genu.
Okay, but is that because he's the leader?
I don't think so. Like I don't because with a lot of K-pop bands, when you debut, your name is changed. You don't obviously go by your actual name, like you get a stage name. Genu, I'm not sure why he's just Genu. I don't know.
Come on, Miss K-pop. Wow.
I don't know. Like, I guess if he had to be one, what would he? Brain Saja? Handsome Saja? I mean, they're all good looking. I don't even know what his... Because they each
I
have
think
like
it's
a
just-
personality
I know.
attached to
I
them. So
know.
I don't know what his would be. Maybe
Well,
Snarky Saja?
I love when they're all introduced and Ab Saja, also known as Abby, flexed, and the strain of the button on the shirt was like,
Yeah.
the animators knew what they were doing.
They definitely do. One thing about it is I would have liked to have learned more about the other Saja boys. They're not overly developed. There's still a lot I would like to know about them.
They're demons. What
Yeah.
is there? Was there more to know?
Well-
Simona? What is there more to know? They're demons.
Okay, well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So, the internet being the internet, there are some sleuths who did some sleuthing. And so there's a scene, so one of the things that I forgot to mention was you learn that Rumi is part demon.
Yes, we don't know who her father is.
And that's something that she's been hiding from
Well,
Mira.
that's because their mentor told her to hide them, which is why I said that this movie
Yeah.
is I think predominantly about acceptance.
Yeah, and-
accepting who you are, accepting who other people are,
Yeah.
and just
And Mira and Zoe don't know.
Right.
So that's the secret that, as Katie mentioned, their mentor Celine, who was also a former protector of the Han Moon,
And a
was also
K-pop idol.
Yeah. She encouraged
Rumi.
Rumi, sorry, to hide that secret with the
Because
belief that once the Hanmoon is healed or like the marks will go away. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how much of that was like a way for Celine to be like to accept Rumi as she is, and we
Yeah.
don't really know if in fact the whole moon would have been completely sealed, that the marks would go away, or she would be sent to the demon world. We don't know.
Yeah.
We really don't know.
And that is a good point. And that's something later on we'll talk about that Rumi confronts Celine about.
Yeah.
So Rumi is hiding the fact that she is part demon. And where was I going with this? Why I even brought
why
it up?
the backstories of the Saja boys.
Oh yeah. So
I got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's a scene where Rumi sort of, her voice is in trouble, and the voice obviously being a metaphor, like it's her literal voice, but also it's the anxiety and the feeling that she can't freely express herself. So they go to this doctor. Because Zoe says,
Quack.
he's fantastic.
Quack.
And he has
Quack.
a tonic, because tonics are very big in Korea. Like,
It's
you have a lot
grape
of
juice.
health tonics. So she goes to the office, and he has a lot of pictures on his wall where he's like self-inserted himself
Yes.
into the portraits.
Which is hysterical.
And there's one portrait of 4 boys. So the theory is that the Saja boys were a failing K-pop boy band, and Jinu approached them saying, I can give you fame and glory, but you have to sell your soul. So that's a theory. There's nothing proven about what their backstories are. So basically, in order to gain success and that they were unable to attain, they were willing to sell their souls. That's just a theory as to what their origins could be.
Okay, but they were already demons.
Assuming they already were. Because the assumption is like because Jinu approaches Gima, who's the Demon King, and says, the old way of doing things isn't working. I have a wonderful idea, and it's a very smart idea. Like we're gonna infiltrate their society as a K-pop band, and then you see the other members appear behind him. Now, assuming that they didn't start off as demons, because even Gino didn't start off as a demon. He was human, but because of his desire for comfort, for financial stability, he abandoned his family.
For not starving.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, it's a really cruel and awful thing to do, but we're all human. We're not all infallible. We do have flaws. So.
And Guima was preying on that aspect.
Absolutely.
So that's how he became a demon. So and like I said, this is not canon. The writer didn't confirm, but it's just an interesting theory that they may have started off as human, then sold their souls to become a successful K-pop boy band.
I remember the scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's a good theory.
Yeah.
But I have a little pushback on that only because they were already all demons in the demon world with Guima. So I don't.
Yeah, I guess the theory is like, just say, for example, when Gino was coming up with his master plan, he approached, for example, let's just argue the whatever group they were,
right,
and said, "Hey, like I realize you've been failing. Join me."
And
like I guess that's the.
I understand that though too, but also it took Ginu's marks didn't come automatically. It came over time, and it was only until after he died that he actually became a demon. At least that's.
He died. What do you mean he died?
Like that's an assumption I'm going on because it didn't actually.
Because I don't remember them. Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because his marks didn't happen overnight. It came like when in the backstory, in the flashbacks, they slowly but surely appeared over time.
Okay.
Not instantaneously. At least that's how I read it.
Okay. I see what you mean. Okay.
And like when he was coming towards the end of his life, he became a full-fledged demon, or he became a demon some further on down the road.
Okay. I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Because he's also 4,000 years old or 400 years old.
400, yeah.
4,000. Excuse me. 400.
He's still a baby.
Yeah, 400 years old. It would suggest, So that's how I read the flashbacks.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying.
Which is why I don't. like, again, it's a good theory,
Yeah.
but a theory that I don't think necessarily tracks with the storyline and how it's presented.
Maybe one day we'll figure out what the Saja boys, what their deal is. And of course, there were a lot of real life boy bands that inspired the Saja boys. So one being TXT, BTS, Stray Kids, ATEEZ, Big Bang, and Monsta X are the boy bands that inspired the Saja boys.
Well, and I would also assume, even though I don't like assuming, that Huntrix was also inspired by a lot of girl bands.
I'm sure, like, it's just that I think a lot of is they focus more on them. Like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I would assume maybe Blackpink,
Yeah.
since they're one of the big ones, may have
Right.
inspired Huntrix. That's something I could look up, and maybe the next, like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But I know with the Saja boys, the creator did say that those were the boy bands that inspired when they were thinking of the aesthetics of
Yeah.
each of the members,
Yeah.
some of the boy bands, and maybe even the musical style. Like, I know for Idol, I think some people say it's very 80s coded, like with the choreo or, but,
Yeah.
but those are the big bands that
I think
did
it's
inspire.
cool. I think it's cool that I believe it's Baby Saja, who's actually voiced by an actual K-pop artist.
Yes, UKISS.
UK
I'm sorry, Kevin from UKISS. Sorry, his name is Kevin. The band he was a part of, so he was a second-gen K-pop group called UKISS, and he's American? Canadian? I'm so sorry. He's
Western.
I believe he's American, but he was part of a very popular second-gen group called UKISS, and yes, he voices Baby Saja.
So I
love
think
Baby Saja.
that's really cool. I think it also lends a lot of credibility to this film.
Yeah. And, we have to talk about Huntrix, our girls, Mira, Rumi, and Zoe.
Mira's my favorite. She's like the buttercup of the three. Yes, because I'm equivocating these three girls to the Powerpuff Girls.
That's fine. It's,
I am.
I loved Rumi's hair.
Rumi is Blossom.
I love that.
Zoe is Bubbles.
Oh.
And Mira is Buttercup.
I can see that.
Right?
Yeah, I loved their friendship. I loved their group dynamic. One person commented how you can tell they were written by a woman.
Yes.
Because she gets how women, especially women or friends, behave when they're in private.
Absolutely.
I love how they just want to get in their comfy clothes, and snack.
Couch.
Love that.
And the sheer disappointment of when Rumi appears and she's already launched their gold album, and they're like, oh, I wanted to relax.
Yeah, so I just love it. I also loved, too, how the movie didn't keep Zoe and Mira being resentful towards Rumi for the entire thing, because I would have hated that if they couldn't.
But also, too, I like that there wasn't an immediate acceptance of this, because it speaks to the fact that if somebody that you have trust in and consider a really great friend holds back on this huge secret and didn't trust you enough to tell that secret, you would feel a really big betrayal about that.
No, and that reaction was understandable.
Yeah.
I also love how Guima, because that's his modus operandi, he preys on your insecurities and your fears. So
how they were taking over and how they did that with Mira and Zoe. It's like,
because
my God.
Mira comes from a very wealthy family, but she was like the problematic
She
daughter.
was the black sheep of the family.
Zoe
grew up in America.
Yeah, she has so much creativity, but she feels as if
it's not enough.
It's not enough. And then Zoe, of course, Rumi, the fact that she's hiding this very big secret, which is a huge part of her identity, but she can't voice that secret because of the fears of what the repercussions will be.
Right.
So Guima preys on that.
Absolutely. But I think at that point, her marks have already appeared.
Yes.
Thanks to like the sabotage of the Saja boys during the Idol Awards competition, which I equivocate to Eurovision. And Eurovision is a European huge music festival where bands in Europe compete.
Yeah.
And the winner gets this huge record deal. I think ABBA came from Eurovision.
Oh, yeah.
I equivocated the Idol Awards to that.
Yeah.
Because that's just what it reminded me of, even though it was just between Saja boys and Huntrix.
Well, it's funny because you see the stats. There are other groups, but I think they're I guess in the top spot, so it's like it's a close call. But yeah, like there is the moment where it's sabotaged, and it's
like,
very heartbreaking.
It is
that
heartbreaking,
scene.
but it's like all of Rumi's fears came to life. And her marks are out at that point. So her insecurities and fears are out for display.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I do like how it didn't last. That they eventually did come together, and
Well,
what
we're
I
also towards the end of the movie
Yeah.
anyway, so
yeah, and what I loved, speaking about the ending scene, so the Saja boys and Genu, and actually before I get to that, I do want to talk about Genu and Rumi.
they are so cute.
Because Genu is someone who struggles with who and what he is.
Yes.
He's plagued by his past, even
Yes.
400 years later.
Again, acceptance.
Yeah, and he agrees to help Guima because he wants Guima to erase his memories.
Yeah.
But you can see that he's conflicted, and I love the little moments of his personality that come out, like when he and the other Saja boys lead them to the men's bathhouse,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Abs goes, "They're always looking at me," like, and it's like I knew they'd follow us in here. And when Gino says, "We're not gonna fight you," they are.
Yeah.
And I love what he's trying to like exit, but he trips over one of the water. He goes, "Oh my God." And like he just like runs away. So that's a 400-year-old demon, folks.
Yeah, but I
who's
also-
tripping over a water demon.
I also love that when Rumi sends him the save the date, and he's like waiting for her, and she's late, or he perceives her as being
Yeah.
late, and she scares him, and he
goes-
goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah, he goes, "You were late just to jump scare me?"
And then he's like late to your own date or something like that, and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And he holds up to save the date, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so old."
Yeah, like I just love that. Like and that's such a romantic scene. So this movie does a lot of like the K-drama tropes, like the whole bumping into someone,
And the slow motion fall,
motion
and then
fall. But he doesn't catch her.
rude.
You know, he doesn't catch her this time.
And then the slow mo grab and hide.
Yes. I loved the whole like first date moment.
Yeah.
In like it's such a beautiful scene. I don't know where what location it's supposed to be, but it's just so beautiful when like they're talking and they're like sort of goofing with one another. Like it's just funny when he criticizes her jam. He says, "Can we talk about the choo-choo train?" He goes, "Choo-choo." Like I just love it. I love the personality. They're so fun.
Oh, that's the, I think, credit where credit due. The voice actors for this
Yes.
movie, top
Yeah.
notch.
Yeah, they all did such a fantastic job, and like
Because not for nothing, I mean, it's a little easier to perform when it's live action. When you're just
Yes.
voicing a character, you gotta like imbue all of
Yes.
your own personality
Yes.
into this character to make it believable. So
yeah,
applause.
yeah, and yeah, definitely the voice actors, the singers who lent their vocal talents
yeah.
to the characters. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Like so many beautiful moments between them. I love how the tiger and the magpie are their hype people.
Yes.
Like oh, these two little guys, they're gonna get together.
Yeah.
I love the woman who's selling the bracelets and the major side. She was like, "Here, find someone better,"
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
just walked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many cute moments, how they build that relationship, they build up the conflict that both characters have, and how they know that ultimately, like Genu ultimately knows, like letting the demons run free, stealing people's souls, not the best idea.
No.
But he's so plagued by his guilt that he's
Right.
willing to do this just to stop
Again,
hearing the voices.
Acceptance. He's showing that he's more human than demon, because that's
Yes.
a very human thing to do.
Yes.
To want to do.
Yeah.
Also, too, can we just talk about the animation?
Yes.
How wonderfully executed it is.
Yes.
Thank you to the creators of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because this is done by the same studio.
Oh, okay.
I love like when Mira, Zoe, and Rumi are getting ready to write a new song, and it's like that hype moment,
Yes.
and their faces change. I'm like,
Yes, he goes,
then-
yeah. He goes, yeah.
it's so, because
Yeah.
it's like what I envision when I try to hype up my own friends. So
Yes.
good on you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the way female friendship is written, you know that women are like because it's very true to how women behave with one another when we're alone and how what we talk about. Yeah. It's very well done.
But like the animation, like just like the backgrounds and the different characters and everything, like the attention to detail for everything was amazing.
Yeah, even like the clothing design, how the Saja boys dress, how Huntrix, each of them dresses.
I love the game show scene when they're all in leather and they're trying to go down the slide.
Yeah, because the leather has betrayed us. Yeah,
Yeah.
because game shows are very big in like Japan and Korea, like and even in China with celebrities going on, and
Yeah.
they have all these wacky games that they play and everything.
You think our game shows are a little out there? You should watch a game show from Japan or Korea. It's way out
Yeah,
there.
so it's like a way, like, because our colleague Amanda, who also watched this movie, was talking about the game show culture, and also it's a way to make the idols more approachable to their
Yep.
fans. Because this is also, and that will take me back to what I wanted to talk about in the ending. It's a love letter to K-pop and K-pop fans.
Yeah.
And the healthy, because there are unhealthy relationships, but the healthy relationship that exists between the group and their fandoms. The fact that they give fandoms names, the light sticks, that fans ship, which is not the healthiest part of the whole culture, but like they'll ship band members.
Yeah, I like that they at least show that part of it.
Yeah.
Because it's not all like sunshines and rainbows. It's
Yeah.
this undercurrent though too. And I think
Yeah.
that's like, but that's also true for like Western celebrities
Yeah,
as
definitely.
well.
Yeah. So I love that. I loved the fan sign moment.
Yeah.
It's just such it's like beautiful moments of development.
Yeah.
How Ab Saja and Roman says like, oh, like we keep
with
on
Mira.
running into each other, and Mira's having none of it.
Yeah.
Zoe though, she's abandoned all pretense. She loves Mystery Saja,
She does.
and she
Until-
actually sees his face.
I know.
No one else does.
No.
I like how she says, "You're cute, but you're a demon. Bye
Yeah.
bye."
Yeah.
And she
And I love how they develop all
Yeah.
of these relationships within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because the entire runtime of this movie is only an hour and a half. And I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah, but like it leaves room for so much more. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to whatever they may have next. But I did want to talk about the ending.
Yes.
Once Rumi has accepted who she is, the Saja boys
And-
are giving their
yeah.
final
Right.
performance.
And I just want to also touch on Celine, their
Yes.
mentor,
Yeah.
when the honeymoon is
Yeah.
disintegrating before her eyes.
Yeah.
And what I had said initially about like Rumi accepting who
Yeah,
she is, and because Celine could not accept who she
yeah.
is, because clearly in the scene you can see how desperate she is to keep this honeymoon together, and
Yeah.
and she can't look at Rumi.
Yeah,
'Cause
she's definitely more duty bound.
Yes, but she also has never fully accepted Rumi
Yeah.
as who she is, which is why she had Rumi hide her
Yeah.
marks. That's the real reason why she had Rumi
Yeah,
hide her marks.
exactly.
Because it was easier for her. And I like how Rumi not only accepts herself, but also like is like, this honeymoon cannot hold together. We need to like create our own
Yeah.
for like this next generation kind of a thing.
And that's the beauty of the end moment when so Guima has sort of fully taken control over the populace. They're led to a stadium where the Saja boys perform their song Idol, which they basically sort of shed their pretense. Their full demonic faces are on display.
Also, too, no one's freaking out about this because Guima has effectively taken control of everybody.
Yeah. Rumi shows up, and she and the girls, Mira and Zoe, are able to overcome Guima's control. They sing, they strengthen the Hanmoon, they drive the demons back.
They do, but they have help.
Yeah. I didn't like this part, but
Jinu, self-sacrifice, meaning that he is more human than demon than we
Yes.
all knew.
yeah.
Saves Rumi.
Yeah,
and
but-
then gives him her soul,
Yes.
so that she can defeat Guima.
And what I love, and this is what I want us to talk about the reciprocity between the fans and the groups, was that the fans start singing
Yeah.
with Huntrix, and they give their souls to Huntrix so
Yep.
that Huntrix has the power to defeat Guima.
Yeah.
And that just also said the person who wrote this understands fandoms in the healthy sense of how the fandoms give so much to the group, but the group also gives so much to the fans.
Yep.
And that's beautifully illustrated in the fans literally singing with Huntrix
Yeah.
and giving their strength to Huntrix. So it's a beautiful moment.
Yes.
I loved that moment.
Yeah,
It's
I did not like
bittersweet.
that Jinyu sacrificed himself to save Rumi, but I also understand it too.
Yeah.
Also, too, it begs the question though if Jinyu is actually dead because the tiger and the magpie are still alive.
Yeah. And that opens up the like, there's
See now that and that like that does open up the possibility for a sequel. But I like this ending.
yeah.
I don't need a sequel.
I would like a
I'm
prequel.
perfectly happy with.
Yeah. I would like a
this.
prequel. I'd want to know more about Rumi's mom and
Yeah.
who the dad is. Like, that would be an interesting story because
Sure.
there are other women like
Yeah.
throughout the centuries. So
what I love about this movie too is that they actually show the different
yeah.
K-pop groups that Huntrix kind of comes out of
Yes.
throughout the different decades, and
Yes.
it's beautifully illustrated.
Yeah. So any final thoughts before we give our rating?
Oh, this is a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done, beautifully animated. The characters are fully developed. You root for them. You root for all of them. I even root for the Saja boys because they're just that. You like them. Like
Yeah.
there's no intention of like hating any particular character except
Yeah.
for Guima.
Yeah.
Because he's the main bad in this movie.
Yeah.
And Celine to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But Soda Pop's definitely my favorite song in this movie.
So that's going to be our rating. Soda Pops.
Soda Pops out
Yes.
of Soda Pops. Well, this is gonna get 5 out of 5 Soda Pops for me.
Same thing. 5 out of 5 Soda Pops.
And I'm not a K-pop fan. I like a few songs, but I don't think that constitutes me being a fan. And even I really enjoyed this movie. So anyone who's not a K-pop fan or even a K-drama fan can watch this movie and really just enjoy it for what it is.
And that's a really great point.
Yeah.
Because it's obvious that it's written as a love letter, as I mentioned earlier, to K-dramas and K-pop.
Yeah.
But I do agree that even if you're not a fan or you're not overly familiar with either, you can still enjoy the movie because the themes are universal.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So yeah, thank you so much.
Did you give your rating?
I did. 5 out of 5 Soda Pops.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us for our discussion of K-pop Demon Hunters. We hope that you leave comments like, what did you think about this movie?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song? Do you have a favorite Saja boy? Let us know. And we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.